would you go ahead and just kind of introduce yourself, where you're from originally, what school you're at, and what weight class?
My name is Riley Dalrymple. I'm originally from upstate New York, Copenhagen. Um, I go to Life University and I'm at the 136 weight class.
Awesome. And it's been fun to watch you wrestle so far. Just coming off of Mo Valley, which loaded there, right? Uh,
Yeah, it was a
had
tough
a
tournament. It
whole,
was my first time going. It was fun.
yeah. And I mean, you had a good run. You make it to the semis. Obviously, you run into very tough Claire DeCogna,
Yeah.
which you won't have to worry about. But what would you, as you said, it was your first time going to that tournament, or how do you think those kind of tournaments prepare you for NAIA or for the championships?
I mean, that's like probably one of the toughest tournament of the year, especially right off the bat. It kind of gets you set up to see where you stand right away. And I think personally that helped me a lot just to see like I'm in a new weight class now. I wrestled 130 the past 2 years in college, so kind of to see like what these girls are like at a bigger weight class, how strong and fast they are is kind of important to see what I need to adjust moving forward into the season.
Yeah, exactly. And how, as you're kind of veteran in the sport now, how as you've kind of grown in maturity in the wrestling and just in life in general, how have being able to come off of a tournament like that with losses and stuff, how does that look different for you now as opposed to maybe when you're first coming in as a freshman?
So I mean now like it doesn't get easier coming off like a few losses, especially right off in the season. But I mean, I think compare the maturity from like my freshman year to now is that I don't see them as just losses or lessons behind them. I know my mistakes now, going through and watching the video review and taking notes and knowing what I need to critique and practice to help better me for success in the next duel or tournament that we have really sets me up better for in March. And I think that's where I've grown a lot in the past 2 years now here in college is that, yeah, it stinks to lose, but you learn a lot more even.
Yeah, I agree. And I think one thing, especially I tell my girls a lot, is like none of your goals were lost today, right? I mean, even for you, it's pretty clear national championship, all American, and you didn't lose that there. And
Yeah.
and especially some of those girls you won't even have to worry about again. But there had to been a part of you though that coming off of it, I mean, there had to been a part of you like, man, if I can make the semifinals and somewhere like that, there's no doubt I can AA, right? I mean, was
Yeah,
there a part that was a confidence builder for you at all?
definitely was a confidence builder. I'm not sure if you knew this or not, but I've had two surgeries the past 2 years in college, so I haven't even had like a very successful full season, due to injury of my left elbow. So just coming in and like doing that well in such a big tournament, I've never. I don't. It's been a while since I've wrestled 2 day tournament that big, and I mean, it is a confidence booster, and like just to reassure me that I do belong here and I do belong in this weight class and you know, March, I mean, it kind of seems a little bit more doable to be that national championship goal that I have.
Let's go back to, you talked about coming out of New York, which, man, has been really created some hammers out of that state for the girls, right? And how do you, like, as an All American from New York, how do you end up at Life U?
So I ended up at LifeU because Ashley and Flavin they found me um, back was my sophomore year in high school. They saw me at a tournament back in Pennsylvania at SEM, and ever since then they had interest in me and had followed me as I started to, get into that big stage of going to like Fargo, Oklahoma Nationals, Texas for the World Team Trials. They kind of were always there and in my corner, giving me some tips and helping me out because it was just me and my dad who traveled. So I didn't really have a real coach because my dad just knew wrestling from, watching me growing up. But I mean, it just spoke volumes, to have them in my corner all throughout basically high school and all these big events for me. And I mean, I looked into other schools and I don't know, just the way they coached kind of just drew me more and more to that side and how they just stuck with me even when I was kind of like a nobody and started to peak more my senior year than anything.
Right. And I think it really is a testament to who they are because even if they go back and you don't end up at LifeU, they wouldn't have changed anything, right? I mean, they just really,
No, yeah. I mean, they've definitely invested in me, not just because of my wrestling abilities, but I mean, because of the person I am. And I think that's kind of what makes them a lot different than any other coach, which I'm super grateful for. It's why I chose here that, they invest in good people and not just good wrestlers.
yeah. And it really, I mean, you just seem so comfortable there. Like it really, like just seeing you down there in a way, it's like, man, this is home for her. And it really
Oh,
looked
yeah.
like that for you. And I honestly think that other girls feed off of that from you, which is really cool to see like your maturity and as you continue to grow as a person, as a wrestler, and kind of step into that lead role and things like that.
Thank you.
Um, what what for you, like you talked about, you coming off of injuries, you haven't had those full seasons. How have you been able to mentally be able to stay engaged, to continue to, be a part of the team, and not only that, lead in those ways? And how have you even personally been able to battle through some of those things?
So my freshman year, I got hurt. I technically the injury first started back in senior year, came back into my freshman year, and I injured my elbow again at conference, and it was hard. I wanted to keep wrestling, and I wanted to go to nationals, and they brought me to nationals, and I did not do very well. Went 0-2, and was definitely not the goal. And just after that, they decided that I should get surgery and repair that ligament that I tore. And it was tough, but definitely wasn't easy watching everyone else train. But I knew if I couldn't be out there, I could at least help somebody else. A passion of mine that I want to do, especially after college, is coaching. So I know I have a lot of knowledge. I've been in the sport for a really long time. So helping out some of the girls that are a little bit newer to freestyle kind of helped me get through it myself. Giving them the tips and pointers and just watching practice, you could kind of see a lot more than, being in practice drilling yourself. So I think that really helped me. Another like thing that helped me the most personally to get through an injury like that was just my family and community back home. My coach Jason Carroll that raised me through wrestling. He was just like my cheerleader in my corner. My dad, my mom, my sister. They always supported me no matter what. And I mean, even on my tough days, calling them crying after practice, I want to be out there drilling and, telling me to just day by day and you'll get back out there sooner than you think. But
Now, how does Riley, how do you get into wrestling? Like, what was that journey for you? What did that look like?
that started way back in kindergarten. My dad wasn't a wrestler and I don't have any brothers that's into wrestling. I just had brought home like a flyer from kindergarten and asked my dad like what is this, and he showed me on TV what wrestling was, and I was like, can I try it? And he's like, yeah, go for it. And ever since I've been in that room and had the same coach raise me all the way up through, brought in different coaches from all over, college Russian coaches. I mean, he really helped me just get the opportunities, and that helped me go into tournaments more nationally and stuff, and that's how Ashley and Christian found me.
That's so cool. Now how what did your room look like? Were you around other girls? Were you mostly wrestling just boys, or what was that like for you?
I was just on an all boys team. There was no other girl. When I was little, there was maybe one or two, but by the time we hit like fifth grade, fourth grade, they quit. Um, and really, there's no other women's wrestlers in like my area of New York. There's a few that are a lot younger than me that have came up through. That are now probably like sophomore and juniors that I've helped coach along the way and like kind of help them out. But it's always been all guys, and I think that's helped me a lot. Just in my wrestling abilities and learning to be tough was just wrestling the guys, and you know, it's a little bit different than wrestling the girls, which also makes it I don't know, not easier, but like a different perspective, I guess, on it.
Yeah, for sure. Uh when did it become real? When did it become real for you? Like man, I'm gonna wrestle in college. Like, when did that become a dream of yours, or is that something that, I mean, did you even know when you're younger that existed, or?
Um, Probably. I didn't really know it existed. I didn't really know even women's wrestling was a thing. Like other girls out there really did it like that until middle school maybe, and that's when I started going to more all girl tournaments. It probably became really real for me to like, I could go to school for free and like, get my tuition help paid for and everything. Was probably seventh or eighth grade, and I was like, I could actually do this and kind of make it out there and make it out of the small town and make my community proud.
That's awesome. And it has been, man, it's been fun to just see the girls continue to make those paths for themselves and
Oh
to
yeah.
see, and like you talked about, to give back, right? To
Hmm.
the others around you. And not only not only when you're in the high school girls, but to the freshmen coming in. Like, I, as you know, I had the opportunity to spend a long weekend there, and it was fun to see you engage with recruits. As you didn't wrestle at the open, to even coach some of the unattached girls. It's cool to see those passions just kind of boil over, which is a lot of fun. And I think it just makes the sport so much easier for those girls stepping into kind of uncharted territories for them and things like that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, even New York has made like huge like jumps and leaps since I've left high school in their wrestling. They just I think are starting to get it sanctioned now, girls wrestlings. I think it was like section 2 that has like maybe 4 or something schools I was reading about like that have an all girls team, which is crazy to think about how much it's grown. I mean, even our team at Life, when I first got there, I was probably the biggest class that came in, my class. And I mean, we have a team of 48 girls, 45 girls, where I mean, they used to have only like maybe 13, 15 on the team, which is crazy to think about.
Since you kind of said the word recruiting there, I was going to ask, do you pay attention, like, as as they're reaching out to different girls and things like that, uh, whether it's Texas, that's in who they're kind of going after. Do you have conversations with some of those girls, or is that something you pay attention to at all?
Watching like just the sport grow more and more, and as they like bring in different girls, even if they don't even end up coming here to Life, I mean, it's cool to meet so many new people and their experiences through wrestling. I mean, I've made good friends. There's girls that were came in to recruiting last year, and I would go on dinners with them and everything, and now they're here, and I don't know, it helps you bring like a little more special of a bond with them and to know their story with wrestling and how just everyone experiences it different and how much it's, impacted their lives, which is just kind of cool to like watch and see.
Yeah, definitely. How would you describe last season for you guys? Like, how cool was it to be a part of some of those moments?
It was really cool. Personally, I had a tougher season with my injury again, but I mean, being a part of, going to national duels and um, going to the even the open. I wrestled in the open the first day, and just watching the girls wrestle, I mean, was really fun. Making weight that next day to for their semifinals and finals was just kind of a crazy experience. I mean, watching the finals, watching Peyton's 30-minute match, and then going into like I think it was Olivia Motley's huge win that got us to like a little bit more successful of a point, and then Gabby's comeback at the very end that won it all for us was just, you know, speechless moments and full of emotions that it's hard to explain. It's definitely a lifetime experience that you'll never forget.
Yeah, and I mean, even just the pictures that you saw off of that, like, it's just different. It just feels different with the girls, and I don't know if it's like, wow, we have these opportunities that maybe we didn't before, but man, the to see the joy and the passion and stuff like that was pretty neat.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, knowing especially like a few weeks, it was like what, 2 weeks before that, we most of us had COVID. We all were in quarantine and not sure how it was going to be, only having 5 days to prepare for this tournament. And going in, we didn't have a 101 pounder. Our 101 pounder ended up being sick, still with COVID. So, I mean, going in there, with all that adversity, it was like a huge moment once we won. It's like, man, we really accomplished whatever we set our minds to, we could do it. And I mean, I think that was like a huge game changer for us as a team, that knowing that whatever we are faced with, we can accomplish it and, push through it.
Yeah, and that's something I don't think very many people understand really even. And I'm sure there's a lot of those stories even with other teams, but the adversity that life last year, even your injury late, um, not like you said, not having a 101 pounder, the COVID thing and all that stuff, like behind there, like it really is crazy, and it makes those moments probably even more special knowing. I mean, because you guys obviously know what's going on.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to get in on a little of that, but it it has been it has been so much fun to see teams come together the way that they have, to drive through this, uh, like even finding ways to survive through that COVID year
Hmm.
and stuff like that, and continue to and for them, for like not only the high school, but for a lot of those girls, dreams of making a world team or whatever it has been. Um, what has it been like to you know, it was pretty evident that you and Peyton have gotten pretty close. How cool has that been for you, like as a friend, as a teammate, to just see her have some of the success, not only like on the mat, but even some of the NIL stuff and those kinds of things. How has that been?
It's been amazing. I mean, I started when I first came in my freshman year. Peyton kind of chose me as her designated partner for the rest of the year. So I mean, we started my freshman year always being drill partners together. Watched her work her butt off to earn that first national championship. And then last year, I got a little too big for her, so she had a different partner, but still being close friends and watching her, still make those leaps and strides of greatness. I mean, winning her second one, and now I'm her roommate, and it's just to be around in that environment. You really are who you like surround yourself by, and Peyton's just such a great role model and friend to be a part of, and just her outlook on what hard work is, and just I don't know, just to be around it, it's just different, especially to see like the day to day life on what it takes to be that. I'm so incredibly proud of her and like privileged to know her like that. And I mean, she's kind of like a little celebrity. I tell her all the time that she gets embarrassed about, but I mean, she's a huge role model to so many little girls out there. And it's like, man, I actually get to live with her and see what it takes to do this. And helps me out even more. And her encouragement to me to help me believe in myself and that I can do this too is just, a friendship that will last a lifetime.
That's awesome. And like you said, it really is a lifetime. And along the way, it's so cool to see. And you do it very well too. Like you even the love that you've shown my daughter Carter, and and that's across the country. Like, and I don't know if you guys realize how big of a deal that is for some of those kids, and even those hard days. And I've told others, like, on those days where you do want to quit, or it's like, is this worth it, or you're getting the crap kicked out of you or whatever at
Yeah.
practice, because we all have those days. Just remember, it's like, man, I really am changing the lives of others. Like, this is worth
Oh,
it. So like, I thank you from me, from my family. It's been so
uh,
cool to see. We're excited to continue to just see where you end up personally, and not only that, but just life you as well. But
thank
what
you.
I do have a question. uh, what would Riley now say to Riley coming in as a freshman in high school? Kind of that new environment, wrestling about that age kind of starts to get more serious. What would you tell yourself?
I would tell her, don't settle to be average. Don't be, disappointed because you're not doing what the normal kids do. Going to football games or just going out and hanging out with friends on a Friday night or whatever. Don't be upset with giving up those normal things, and remember it's a privilege to have like these more unique opportunities, and going to double practices to be a little bit different, to going to missing your prom. I missed my all my proms throughout high school to go to world team trials, and I'd never placed, but I would never give those up. Looking back at it, like, just it stinks to make the sacrifices of what a normal kid would do, but I would not want to be, average. I want to be different. The goals I want are different, and don't settle for being just normal and average. And that's probably my biggest thing that I would give my younger self as advice.
That's cool. And that even talking about like world trials and stuff, the fact that I just don't know of any other sports. Like that's one thing that is kind of cool and unique about girls is you get to from 10 years or younger, if you want to, you get to go roll around with warm up next to some of the best in the country and in some cases the best in the world. Like pretty pretty neat. And even the guys
Yeah.
don't really have that experience.
No,
Not like
exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's something that I think I took a little bit for granted. I mean, I not many people get to have those opportunities. Not many people get to the chance just to travel around the country with their dad, wrestling, doing what they love, and getting the time off school and just having fun. I mean, it's crazy to watch, and even watching girls that are in college at the time doing world team trials and never really realizing that, oh, that could be me one day too. Like, I mean, it really is a very unique sport, and I don't know, a lot different than I think any other, and that's for sure. It creates very unique opportunities for everybody.
you get some free time. Let's say you have a couple days off of wrestling or whatever. You don't have to worry about any of that kind of stuff. Maybe season's over. What are some of the things that you like to spend your time with?
Personally, when I'm like home or stuff, I'm with my family. Me and my dad like to go work out downstairs. We have a full little lifting gym down there. We do that, or we'd go out for four wheeling, and just being around them. Usually it's involves some type of workout, some type of something, and then just going with them to relax and eat some good food or something. But I mean, I just like to, really relax and be with my friends and family. That's definitely the most important thing for me.
Yeah, yeah. You can just tell, like even seeing you down there, like you're a big family person.
Yeah.
But speaking of food, I honestly think that's one of my favorite things about traveling to different places. It's like, and there's always those girls, and not only girls, but dudes that are like, I want to go here. I'm like, man, you live like 5 minutes away. We're not going there. Like we're
Yeah.
trying. I like to try. I almost try to dare myself to like find something you're not gonna like. I like trying new stuff, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of good restaurants out there in the world. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's always fun. We do this thing back home. Like every Wednesday, we go out for Wheeler night, and me and my family and a bunch of our friends go down on the wheelers to the river, and we do like a big like potluck of all types of foods, meats, and everything, cooking it right there. And it's always so much fun. I mean, that's really
That's
all I think
sweet.
about right there.
I'm gonna have to come out to one of those sometime.
Definitely.
I love New York. It's funny because I don't know how it started, but like pro teams, I'm a big Knicks fan and I'm a big Mets fan, and I have no
Okay.
idea how that started. But since I was a little kid, it's always been that way. But no, that's cool. I really appreciate you so much taking the time to have a chat with me. I think one of the things that I really want to do is give people a chance to kind of share their story, share their passions, share the love for the sport that maybe normally don't get highlighted. And not only that, but like even just NAIA in general. So I thank you so much for taking that time. I'm excited to see you continue to scrap through the year. Hopefully you stay healthy for the whole year.
Yes, thank
Uh,
you.
well, as healthy as you can, because we know
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know by March, no one's 100% healthy. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
ever.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great talking to you, and
Yeah, it's
sharing